Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Adam, aka the Mental Health Warrior, here to represent mental health warriors. And tonight, or shall I say today for American, we are talking with Dale Walsh. Now, a little bit about that is we're going to be getting to know Dale a little bit, and then we're also going to be talking, as you see in the description, it's National Schizophrenia Day. Now, obviously, Warrior TV has never covered schizophrenia. I've studied it. I know a little bit about it, but I don't know much. So I'm glad I've got Dale here today because he knows a lot about schizophrenia. So all I've got to say is welcome to Warrior TV, Dale.
Thank you very much, Adam. Happy to be here. It's a pleasure and an honor.
You're most welcome. Now, before I get started, I must say, for everyone that's tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, please comment who you are and let us know where you're tuning in from, and let's hear your story, because we're always looking for a guest here on Warrior TV. Now, and also please share this in awareness. Now, Dale, I'm going to throw a few quick fire questions at you just to spice up the mood a little bit. How's that sound?
Okay.
Nice. So I'm going to say, are you a night owl or are you an early bird?
Definitely a night owl.
Night owl, brilliant. Your favourite colour?
I would say my high school color is maroon, and I also like purple.
Oh, okay.
My favorite combination is red and black.
Brilliant, nice. Your favourite type of sport?
Baseball.
I don't understand that.
Well, baseball is an American institution. It used to be known as America's pastime, but it's based on cricket, but it's like a lot different. It's sort of like cricket. There are pitchers, there are throwers and batters and big parks that you try to hit the ball out of the park and everything.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm going to say your favourite type of dressing to go on a salad?
Ranch.
Nice. Nice. And the final one I'm going to say, is it cats or dogs?
Even though I have a fear of dogs, I was brought up with dogs, so I'll say dogs.
Brilliant. Now, obviously, to all the viewers as well, if you've got any questions for Dale regarding schizophrenia, don't hesitate to put them in the comments and we will read them on here. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about who Dale is. Like, what was he like throughout school, his first job, stuff like that.
Well, the first turning point in my life was when I was 10 years old and my mother divorced and remarried, and I was snatched from an ideal childhood in Abilene, Texas, to the hustle and bustle of Midtown Manhattan, New York City. And so when I got to New York City, I had like a very almost elite education. I went to the best boarding school in America for 4 years. I had a year in England at Haileybury. I don't know if you know it, but yeah. It's in Hertfordshire. And then I went to Dartmouth College, and I had a very successful freshman year, but I was doing a lot of partying, specifically alcohol and especially marijuana, and also LSD and other hallucinogenics. And that sort of like tipped me over the edge into schizophrenia during my summer term after my freshman year. And one Tuesday I was a successful Dartmouth student, and the next Tuesday I was in a mental hospital with God delusions, and my roommate's name was Gabriel.
Wow. Brilliant. So would you say through all those drugs, would you say you had some sort of an addiction?
Well, I was definitely addicted to pot for like 30 years, but and that it was a very complicating factor in my therapeutic recovery because it got in the way of the medications and everything. And I was, after I got taken away from Dartmouth, I was in a psychiatric program in New Jersey for 5.5 years. And during those 5.5 years, I was hospitalized in in the local mental unit 9 times.
Yeah. So, what do you actually know? What triggered you? What was the main cause for you to turn to drugs?
Well, it's like I told Tiffany Warner. I just love drugs. You know, I love the way they made me feel. I had like no problem. I was famous on campus for being able to outsmoke anybody, even though I'm rather small. I'm 5'8". But and then during the summer, the drug use just escalated, and I sort of like turned my back on my academic career. I'd been like a B plus A minus average my freshman year, but I got an offer to become a professional frisbeeist in Central America. So I spent all my time playing frisbee and smoking pot and drinking beer.
Absolutely.
So then I came up with the idea that I was God, and I came up with what I thought was a great joke, which was, "Hi, I'm God." And then I would see how long it would be before I burst into hysterical laughter, because how could God be 5'8"? And I thought it was the best joke I'd ever come up with. But unfortunately, authority disagreed with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Welcome, Camille. They're live on YouTube. Curious to hear all. Yes, we are going to be covering all. And if you haven't already, guys, please subscribe to this channel in awareness on YouTube. We're always looking to grow. We're always growing. And please follow us on Facebook at the Mental Health Warriors as well. Loads of content on there. It's always active. Because I've had people constantly telling us, "Calm down, you're overactive." So yeah. Did you qualify school? Like, did you graduate?
Well, I graduated from my boarding school, and eventually, after 5 years off, after 5 years in the program, I got my own apartment, and I went back to school at Fairleigh Dickinson in 1980. So, and then 5 years later, I graduated magna cum laude in English.
Wow. Brilliant. Yeah. So I've got to ask, where is it better to learn, America or Hertfordshire?
Well, Texas.
So America then.
Well, I made Hackensack my home for the last 41 years. So it's actually, my answer is actually Hackensack, New Jersey, which is is like an international hub. It's like one of the most diverse cities in America. So, I mean, even though it's in America, it's like, you know, you're exposed to like every ethnicity. Can't say that word, but I've been very. I found in Hackensack the home that I was always looking for after I left Texas, because for my teen years I was always like a wandering pilgrim, going from school to New York to school to and all over the place.
Brilliant. Hello, Kerry, my beautiful wife. She's tuning in live from upstairs. So yeah, she's here. Camille, they're also a diagnosed mental health challenge individual since 19. Now, what are you diagnosed with, Camille? May I ask? And Kerry, no, I don't need the phone charger because it's plugged in right now in front of me. There you go. Sorry about that. Yeah. Lost track now. See, I'm getting Kerry's knowledge now, where I'm just losing track.
A lot of people think that schizophrenia is like hearing voices or having visual hallucinations and disorganized thought. And I had I never hallucinated a thing in my life. Even when I was on LSD, I never hallucinated. But my big problem was my delusions, because delusions, I mean, you talk about obsessive thought, and obsessive thought is just like one thought that like gets stuck in your head. And in OCD, for instance, obsessive compulsive, they'll focus on like checking for their keys 20 times when they leave a place. But a delusion is an obsessive paradigm. A paradigm is a collection of beliefs. So I built up like a whole structure, and in fact a whole building about how I was God, and everything I did was directed to work for 10 years until something happened, which if you want I can go into, but until I realized that I wasn't God. But the delusion of being God was so strong because I don't know if you know what confirmation bias is, but it basically means that if you believe something, your brain will find ways to justify it. So I was always being shown reasons why I was God, but it was my own perception. It wasn't reality. And so therefore, the distinguishing thing about schizophrenia is that a person is known as being out of touch with reality. And whether that's because of voices or delusions or negative thinking or scattered thinking or whatever, that's like the main trademark of schizophrenia. As being, I define schizophrenia as being living in a reality that wasn't conceived on Earth.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, because obviously you've explained some of the symptoms of it. Like, for the viewers, can you explain what schizophrenia actually is? Yeah.
Well, I don't. There was a movie about John Nash called A Beautiful Mind, and he was a schizophrenic who won the Nobel Prize for like game theory or something, for mathematics. But basically, every case is different, and therefore it's very hard to generalize. But basically, schizophrenia is a brain condition that is typified by delusions, hallucinations, disorganized thinking, and lack of social, and a lot of times social withdrawal, belief in, well, delusion is a belief in something that's not true. I mean, obviously I wasn't God, and that's the thing that like real, when I had the revelation that I wasn't God, that was like the most devastating depression I ever had in my life, because it was just like the whole foundation. I mean, it was sort of like the World Trade Centers of my mind coming down. It was just like my whole foundation of my ego and my personality was like devastated and destroyed. But ultimately it was a very positive thing, because it got me back to reality after 9 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Camille put, my latest greatest diagnosis is schizoaffective manic depression. Now, would you be able to expand on that?
The difference between schizophrenia and schizoaffective, I was also diagnosed as schizoaffective but basically, as I've come to understand it, schizoaffective means that, well, schizophrenia has its own set of symptomology, but schizoaffective, it means that you have schizophrenic tendencies, but you also have bipolar or major depressive tendencies. So it's a real horror show because I mean, not only are you dealing with the difficulty with reality of schizophrenia, but you're also like having like the manic cycles of bipolar and bipolar, which is manic depression.
Yeah.
So basically, schizoaffective is schizophrenia and bipolar together.
Okay. So what statistics are actually of people that are diagnosed with schizoaffective depression?
That I don't know, but I know that there are 2.6 million schizophrenics in America. I have a good friend who's schizoaffective, and he's doing very well. But my main focus is based upon my coaching business, which is recovery is always an option. And it's taken me 45 years to get to the point where I am at this point. But ultimately, I feel that I'm a whole person again. And for me, recovery means becoming a whole person after the official definite, where the root words of schizophrenia mean shattered mind.
Right.
So becoming a whole person, whether it's a new personality or not, is the essence of what I call recovery.
Okay. We've got a question for you of Joanna Thompson. Welcome to Warrior TV also. She put, does Dale feel like that smoking pot made his delusions worse?
I think it was definitely a triggering pattern, but on the other hand, it was also self-medication because the medications that I am on, and have always been on since I got sick, are so strong that I use marijuana to, take away what I call the chemical edge of the medications. But on the other hand, the psychotropic qualities of the marijuana would put me in the hospital. So it's a very complicating factor when it comes to schizophrenia and marijuana.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Joanna? Also, Camille saw that movie, Beautiful Mind. It's excellent. I've never seen it. But I'm going to actually have a look at it. I really am. They've also put a smaller percent of people deal with schizoaffective manic depression. They believe a smaller percent, but who knows? We need to double check that.
Well, I'm familiar with when I went on disability, my doctor for 22 years in the program. I was in the program for 5 years, but he was my doctor for 22. He, for the first 5 years that I knew him, said that my diagnosis was psychotic bliss because I was just so happy all the time. I mean, being God, I guess, made me happy. So. But when I applied for disability, he read me his report and he said, when it came to diagnosis, it said paranoid schizophrenia, schizoaffective. But in the meantime, since that time, schizoaffective and schizophrenia have become separate diagnoses.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, for the record, guys, the word schizophrenia, it doesn't mean that everyone that's got schizophrenia is a stress head that skips a lot. It doesn't. It really
doesn't mean multiple personalities. That's a whole different ballgame. And that's what I felt I was for a long time until a certain incident made me realize that a schizophrenic can have multiple personalities, but they're all integrated into like one whole personality.
Yeah, what are the connections? Because I've always wanted to know this. What are the connections between schizophrenia and trauma?
I think trauma is definitely a contributing factor to schizophrenia.
Okay.
And then just like I say, the drugs were a tipping point. Uh, I wasn't aware of all the trauma that I went through as a child with my mother's divorce and, being transplanted from Texas to New York City and then being, basically being in a get along with everybody situation to the like extreme competition of New York City and then my boarding school of 110 entering freshmen in my boarding school, only 52 graduated. So,
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Oh, hello, Tiffany. Tiffany's here.
oh, hi, Tiffany.
Hello. Yeah. She put hi, and then Dale in capitals with four exclamation marks. Then she put underneath hi, Adam and Dale. Okay. Okay. And then Camille put quite complex. The brain is quite a sophisticated computer-like organ. Would you agree?
I do. What happened with me was when I was first hospitalized after Dartmouth, I would like ask my doctor, why am I here? There's nothing wrong with me. And he would say, Dale, if you broke your leg, you would come into the hospital, right? And I said, yes. He said, well, you broke your brain. And that stigmatizing thought, like, haunted me for more than 35 years because, even though the research has shown that the brain is always creating new transmitters and, new connections and everything. When I got sick in 1975, the general belief was that if you got schizophrenia, it was a life sentence, and that there was no hope, and your only hope was to take your medication and to stay out of long-term institutions. But of course, in the last like 15 to 20 years, there's been so much more research done on the brain. And I think psychiatry and psychology is like way behind the neuroscientists in this way, but they've shown that the brain can't be broken. It's always working to fix itself. So, that's part of my approach to recovery is that with time, with time you get insight, and with insight you get better into your illness because I was hospitalized a total of 15 times, but the last 5 times I admitted myself to the hospital because I could tell that I was psychotic. So, and you're out of touch with reality, so.
No.
But the growth of insight and the growth of like awareness of where your illness is like extremely important to recovery.
Absolutely. Do you know, I'm actually going to put this comment from Tiffany on screen because I believe this needs to get out there. I hate that the doctor said that to you, Dale. You did not break your brain.
Thank you, Tiffany.
That is an awesome. Nobody ever breaks the brain. Nobody.
Right.
Nobody. Camille's also put the idea of a broken brain is to me is such a fallacy. If I said that right. Or fallacy? Fallacy. That's it. Would you agree?
Well, all the brain scientists have come a long way in the 45 years since I was first diagnosed. But, it took me basically 20 to 25 years to get that idea that my brain was broken out of my head, even though I had a very successful college career. After I graduated from college, I was a private tutor at the university for 10 years, So, and people were like, really like wanted to be tutored by me because I was like so, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I was so smart. But the thing I think that I would say about schizophrenia is, in a lot of ways, it's a cultural disease.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of the people who are diagnosed as schizophrenic are really just visionaries who run up against the general cultural norm, and they're considered weird or or sick or psychotic, whereas actually they're the ones who are like pioneering more new like frontiers of thought and understanding. And that's especially relevant today with all the changes that have been going on in the last year, especially since pandemic. Is that
Hmm.
the world? I'm not saying the world needs schizophrenics, but the world needs visionaries to lead us to where we want to go in our new evolution. I think that people, I don't want to brag, but I think people like me who have recovered from schizophrenia have a very important role to play in the new earth.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, we will get to the pandemic, but I want to address some comments because I think they're absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Camille's put yes, agree. There's multi-dimensional aspects to it all. They've also put it's terrible that a professional said that. It makes me quite upset to hear. Dale, you were told that. Also, Tiffany's put about the beautiful mind. Joanna, really dislike the stigma relating to schizophrenia. Some TV programs portray schizophrenics as dangerous. Actually, it's very rare that someone with schizophrenia can become violent.
That's absolutely true. Uh, I, I say there are three types of stigma. There's the self stigma of the diagnosed themselves, and their guilt and shame that they have this diagnosis, and I guess this probably isn't used as much as it was when I was, but just like the idea of the broken brain, and that there's something wrong, and it's all my fault that I became a schizophrenic. I mean, it took me a long time to get over the fact that my drug use was the tipping point, but it wasn't the thing that caused my schizophrenia. It would have happened anyway, probably. So there's self stigma, there's family stigma, where my clients and the families of those with schizophrenia, are banned or shunned, and they lose friends, and they don't know what to do because they want to help their loved ones, and they feel that their loved ones have been lost to them as they knew them. And so that builds up shame and guilt and anxiety for the family members. And then there's the social stigma, which is the media, and
Mm,
just like the whole world believes that all schizophrenics are like violent criminals. And the fact is that uh, it's a lot more likely that a schizophrenic is going to be attacked by someone than it. I mean, this is statistically proved that schizophrenics are much more likely to be attacked by someone rather than attack someone themselves. And
yeah.
usually the only time a schizophrenic becomes violent is when his paranoia overwhelms him, and he just like goes berserk. But I mean, mass shooters are always, the first thing they say is he had mental health problems, but that's really not true.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Now, obviously, there's more. Uh, um, obviously, Camille's part. I feel each breakdown is a breakthrough to a full understanding of the self. I agree with that 1,000%. I
Well,
really do.
just speaking from my own experience, 9 times out of 10, well, out of the like not of the 9 uh, hospitalizations I had when I was in the program, I would say at least 5 of them were at a point where I felt I was getting to a new point of insight and revelation, which was causing distress within the program. The program had like anywhere from 10 to 18 young adults and adolescents. So I would be pushing myself to reach this new level of insight, and the doctor would put me in the hospital and just shoot me full of drugs, and I would be, I would go back to the way I was. But that, and this is by no means a put down of medication. This is a means of, this is a put down of the closed thinking that people have towards schizophrenia.
So would you say the stigma when somebody is sectioned? Obviously, I've never been sectioned. I've tried. I've even begged to be sectioned in past. But would you say being sectioned, these doctors, nurses, they're quick enough to jump at like a tranquilizer or any other medication is the easy way out to rather than just sitting down and talking to the patient?
Well, first of all, you'll have to define for America what sectioned is, because I don't think a lot of the Americans know what section. We don't have sectioning in America.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm just saying, could you define what you mean by sectioning? Because we have commitment.
Section being not rehabilitated when they are in a mental hospital.
So they're forced into a mental hospital, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well in America we call that committed. But
right, all right, fair enough.
In answer to your question, there are times when medication is absolutely essential when someone is in a deep psychosis, but on the other hand, there are 2 points. One is medication has become the go-to solution to all schizophrenia, it seems. I was very lucky in that I had like a program where I had talk therapy 3 times a week and groups twice a week. So, but for the majority of people who are sectioned or committed, there is a need for medication, but that doesn't replace the need for sympathy and empathy and listening empathetically to what they're going through. And that's one of the things I've learned in my coaching business, is just to listen and really find out where the person's coming from. And these are the families. So it's a lot harder with someone who's in psychosis to just like listen, because the normal brain just says, this is total, hunky-dory, this is total BS. And this guy is delusional and he needs medication. But a lot of times the delusions can be, explained if you give them a chance to really talk. But the ability to really talk is becoming more and more rare.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree with you. And guys, please share this. Please, I know we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Please share the hell out of this, because this needs sharing like hell. Now, obviously, we're already live in the Mental Health Warrior page on Facebook, which this video will reach over 20,000 people, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So please share. Come on, Dale, get them to share.
This is. I want to. That's why I did this, because you said you've never had a schizophrenic on your program, and no. I think Tiffany, I was one of the first, and the thing about that I am proud of is that I have the capacity to speak coherently about schizophrenia and help. I was listening to Pink. She has a new I don't know if Pink is big in England, but she's like a big rock star here. And she said, in a talk, she said, I want to use my hurt to take away the hurt of everybody else. And that's my ambition, not only in my coaching business, but also in interviews and when talking to people about schizophrenia, because I feel I have a unique vision and a unique point of view that a lot of the schizophrenics can empathize with, but they don't have the ability to enunciate it.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, we've got loads of comments coming through here. Kerry, my beautiful wife, that's all right. You don't need to apologise for being quiet. Let us know what you've been reading about schizophrenia, what you found out, and if we've not covered it, please put it in comments what you found. Like, even if it's statistics, let's do this. Tiffany's put a few comments. You never know about whether or not the LSD led to the onset to your mental health. You can't change the past regardless.
Well, that's something I've come to peace with, Adam, because I did what I did, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and it led to being hospitalized and institutionalized for basically 7-10 years until I got my own apartment. But fact is that it's a useless debate that you can like obsess yourself with and say, well, the same doctor who said my brain was broken said I could smoke pot till it came out of my ears, but never do LSD again. So, but it's a moot point because I did what I did, and I've taken responsibility for it, and I realized that I'm diagnosed, and I made the best of it, and that's why I set up my coaching business for the families of schizophrenics, and why I'm so intent on helping people recover and just gain insight into the disease for the general public to understand that schizophrenics are usually the most friendly or docile people that you'll meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, there's a question from Joanna. Do you know if anyone in your family history has had schizophrenia?
My mother.
Okay. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, this is something. Apparently, I have a good friend who's a mentor, and she has a PhD in clinical psychology from UCLA in Los Angeles. But she and I were talking, and she says that the genetic factor of schizophrenia is becoming more and more regarded as a myth. But on the other hand, I feel that my mother wasn't like a typical schizophrenic. She was very functional, and she was a good wife. She was a great mother. She died in 2012, but my whole life was built around pleasing her, and she had mental illness, and I think that's a genetic predisposition I had towards the illness, but it's only predisposition. I think if anything, the drugs are what brought out the predisposition in the first place, and there's a good chance that if I'd never done LSD, I never would have gotten sick. But as I say, that's a moot point to argue because you can drive yourself nuts doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But in answer to your question, there was a genetic component to my illness.
All right. Fair enough. Camille, you have to deal with the present and the now. The past is what was released, and I feel what is meant in someone's life journey.
Well, this is something else that Pink said in her talk that I listened to, and she said, I signed up for this life before I came here. And this is something that I've talked about with my coach, but I feel that ultimately, looking back on my journey, is that I was meant to get schizophrenia, to learn the lessons, to overcome it, so that my soul could really progress in this life and so I could become the person that I was always meant to be. And there's a spiritual connection to schizophrenia that very few people talk about, but schizophrenia is usually like a very spiritual illness, because it's just like you feel that you aren't part of the earth, you're part of the cosmos. And so that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, before I get to Kerry's comments, which she's actually found some statistics regarding the UK, which is definitely stigmatized, I'm going to ask something. Would you believe in the phrase, for you to see the light, you have to face darkness?
Absolutely. I think, I think that the whole process that's going on in the world now of people becoming more and more enlightened is heightened by the darkness of the time,
Yeah, because obviously, I was watching a good friend of mine, Lorraine Harris, and obviously we was on his show just the other day, and he actually stated, we don't see the light because we are the light. And the reason he's saying that is because, take miners, for example. They've got those helmets on and they've got a light switched on. And obviously, it's clearly dark in the mine. So when you're turning, the light's following your direction. So I do see where he's coming from with that.
I think that's a very perceptive observation, but the thing is that so many people get lost in the darkness of schizophrenia that they never get a chance they never have the insight or the awareness to be able to realize the light, and that's a real tragedy of the disease.
It is, absolutely. Now, obviously, Kerry's found some statistics regarding the UK when it comes to schizophrenia, and she's put in the UK they estimate that in every 1,000 people there's 14 that have schizophrenia.
Right. Well,
that's very stigmatized.
The statistic I always hear is 2% of the population.
Yeah.
But and this is sort of a side note, but as for diagnosis of schizophrenia, it used to be when I got sick, you had to manifest symptomology for 6 months before you would be diagnosed as schizophrenic. But these days, if you say you take as one of my clients loved ones did, they just overdosed on magic mushrooms, and they were they were obviously psychotic, so they needed help, but but now he's back to normal. He was hospitalized for 5 months. They put him on medication and everything, but my client says, thank you very much, Dale, because you were the only one who was there for us when we were going through this. But her son is now basically back to himself. But my point is that the diagnosis of schizophrenia has become like just an umbrella term, and it's lost all meaning because you can be weird for 2 days and be diagnosed as being schizophrenic, whereas when I was being diagnosed, my symptomology lasts 10 years, so.
Hey, come on, Dale. We're not weird. Nobody's weird. Crazy sometimes, but weird, no. We're all unique and beautiful in our own way.
I use that word in the societal use.
Exactly. Now, Tiffany's obviously put mental health diagnoses are not. Mental health diagnoses are often, but they're not always genetic. Obviously, Kerry's found out that even schizophrenia can have an impact on children as well.
It can. But normally, schizophrenia manifests between the age, for males, from 15 to 25, and for females, basically between 20 and 30. That's when the great majority of schizophrenic diagnoses are done.
Yeah.
And just to give you a staggering statistic about schizophrenia, there's a updated study that said that due to lost production and hospital and care costs and all these other things put together, that schizophrenia, the one illness, schizophrenia, not all mental illnesses, just schizophrenia, cost the United States $208 billion a year.
Ouch. Oh, right. Oh, okay, right. I'm putting the record straight. Tiffany, yes, you said hi. And I'm going to say this live so everybody's a witness. Next time Tiffany's live, I will be jumping on to the comments and saying hi. Because the other night we rang her and she shouted at me for not saying hi on the podcast.
Well, I did. I think I did say hi to Tiffany.
No. When she's live,
okay.
Yeah, because of the time she goes live, it's like I'm sitting down, like having some dinner.
Right.
Yeah, so obviously that's the time. So yeah, I'll jump on next time. I will. I'll jump on. I think I've just had my head bit off then. But anyway. Right. Camille, Adam, I do agree. We are the light. It's within, and we're born in this light. Perfect as Christ conscious-centered individuals.
I agree with that.
Oh, here we go. Guess what? Your sister, Sarah, is tuned in.
Oh, great. Well, I called her and told her that I was being here, so.
She has put this. Dale's sister here. Firstly, I'm so proud of him for how he's dealt with this illness and made his way to this point where he's trying to help others with the benefit of his experience.
Well, I came up with the idea of my coaching business about 3 years ago, and I've been training for it. And the rationale behind it was that the diagnosed person themselves usually has like a team, or at least a doctor or a social worker or somebody to help them. But the families, I mean, this is from my own experience, the families are like left in the cold. Sometimes they can't even contact her. I mean, if he's in the hospital, or, there's such strict confidentiality rules that they can like be totally in the dark about the safety or the state of their loved one. So I call them the forgotten victims of mental illness, I set out to be able to help them not only cope with their diagnosed loved one, but also to find their own wholeness again. Because
Absolutely.
The shattered mind isn't just a patient, it's a whole social system that he's involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, Kerry's found some out. 1.5 million people were diagnosed with schizophrenia in the USA, where you are, in 2020.
Right.
1.5 million. How do you feel about that?
Well, actually, that's less than I thought. I thought it was 2.6. So.
Maybe. Hey,
that could be an old statistic that I'm using.
it may be, yes. Sarah's also put another 2 pointers, which I'll read. Secondly, Dale may not remember from when his schizophrenia was first diagnosed, but we, the family, were told that the drugs didn't create the disease, but it probably triggered its onset earlier.
That's the conclusion I've come to for 20 years. So she's right, but thank you, sis. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. And she's also put, finally, our grandmother's brother spent most of his life hospitalized with some form of mental illness.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
And finally, our grandmother's brother spent most of his life hospitalized with some form of mental illness.
That's something that I didn't remember, but it's part of the family legacy.
Absolutely. Sarah, please subscribe to this channel also, because there is some great content on here. And as well, Tiffany's been on the show and she's going to be due back on. I will be bringing her back on at some point. Obviously, she put laude, so when I was talking about that, she bit me head off. Go on with your excuses. That's me. Camille, Sarah, happy you're here to cheer Dale and support all with his challenge. Yeah. Chris Nixon, nice to meet you as well. I'm enjoying watching Dale, so happy to have met you and to hear your wisdom. Camille, yes, the ripple effect of family is so at times devastating and they become selfless. Joanna, my hat comes off for you, sir. You have turned your negative experiences into a positive for others in need. You are not alone. There's always a trigger. I think also, yes, absolutely. And everyone subscribing, thank you. Now, I've got one final question for you, Dale.
I'm ready, Adam.
One final question, then we will end this. If you, right now, sat in your coaching chair, that's how I'm going to describe it, a coaching chair, and the old Dale Walsh walked through your door and said, I need help, what piece of advice would you actually give him? And that Dale was full on drugs, all these challenges.
I would, my answer would be accept the help. Accept the help you're offered, no matter how much you think you don't need it.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, all I've got to say is thank you for coming on for National Schizophrenia Day.
Well, we don't have that in America. I think there would be riots if there was a National Schizophrenia Day in America.
Every day is National Schizophrenia Day, wherever you are.
But I want to thank you for the honor of being here and for letting me tell my story. And hopefully I've helped some people and enlightened some people about the disease. But there's a lot more to go into. It's something that obviously I could talk about for hours or days, but I just feel that my experience has been with my clients is that they contact me and then they're in crisis because say their loved one has just been hospitalized for the first time, and I get them through that crisis, and they say, okay, thank you very much, you've been very helpful, and thanks for being there for us. And then they don't further their coaching package. But what my conception of what I'm doing with my coaching is to get them to be able to be ready for when their loved ones are about to be hospitalized, and to let them understand not only the illness but also their own triggers. And one thing that I'm very big on is reaction versus response. If you feel that you're dealing with the schizophrenic, don't react, respond. And respond means to listen with empathy and to be sympathetic and to treat them with love no matter how off the wall you may think. And don't interrupt them when they're talking. Just let them express themselves, and then you can, reply.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Kerry says you're welcome back anytime, Dale. Yes, you are, because I will be getting in touch with you as soon as we end this, and we're going to be booking you in so you can talk about your books. You are. You're going to be talking about them, and then what your next steps are into raising awareness for schizophrenia. So we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much, Adam. I really appreciate that, and it's been great here. And we made it to an hour, so that's a good thing. I guess you didn't find me too boring.
I don't find anyone boring.
Right.
Not. But anyway, yeah. Final comments we've got is giving brilliant advice. You are, Camille. Thanks, Dale, also, and Adam. The work you're doing is amazing. I've wanted to eradicate the stigma regarding mental challenges here in the 21st century is essential. Thank you both. There's more. Oh, come on. They keep coming. Slow down. Camille, action instead of reaction. Listen eloquently and open-hearted. Do best to understand and assist. So there you go. And on that note, we are going to end this show now. This has been absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'd like to thank you again, Adam, for having me on.
You are most welcome. Now, guys, please share this. Please share this in every page you can. Whatever social media platform you are, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, please share the hell out with this, because this message needs to get out there. And schizophrenia needs to be spoken about more. It really does. Yes. I know the views keeps going up right now, because at 1 minute we were on 7, now we're on 10. So yeah. So yeah. But yeah, anyone's welcome to come on the show, share your story, and remember, you are the light. Let's face darkness together. And right now, we will end this stigma of mental health. On that note, thank you, everyone. Love you all. Please join Kerry Duval tomorrow, as she will be coffee morning, and she's got Kerry Burr, aka the Human GPS, our co-host, and also Robin as well. And we're going to be talking about trauma. That's tomorrow, 11 a.m. UK time. But tomorrow I will be back on. I have got 2 people. I've got Lily Taylor Ward at 1 p.m. UK time. She's a singer. And then also at 2:30 p.m. I've got the person that's tuned in tonight, Joanna Thompson, 2:30, and she's going to be sharing her story. So on that note, love you all. I'm off to bed.
Take care, everybody. Happy National Schizophrenia Day in England.
Bye for now.